Welcome back, YouTube. My name is Blazeshadowthorn, and I'm going to be bringing you 3 Wi-Fi battles I've had. They were all against the same person, Cospha. He's a pretty cool YouTuber. He's a friend of mine. We help each other out and stuff like that. So he's a pretty cool dude. We always call him Koshderp. So if I call him Koshderp during this battle, you know why. So looking at his team, he decided to bring some Pokebank Pokemon because he was lucky enough to get an Infernape, and I hate him for that because Infernape's one of my favorite Pokemon. So I'm using my standard team: Choice Scarfed, Gengar, Choice Banded, Drapion, Specially Defensive Tentacruel, Expert Belt, Hydreigon, Physically Defensive, Ferrothorn, and Mega Scizor. So on his side of the team, he brought a Gale Wings Talonflame, which I'm like, I hate you. Mega Gyarados, which is meh, an Infernape, which is really threatening, a Metagross, which could be threatening, it couldn't be, and then a Raichu, and I'm like, Raichu. Never seen one before. What is this Raichu in this metagame of metas? So anyway, Koshderp, he's going to be issuing a challenge, and so I'm going to lead off with my Miss Sinister, as he actually leads off with his Metagross, which is a pretty good matchup for me. There's not really much he can do because nothing on his team really wants to take a Shadow Ball, so I am able to just clean take the advantage. First kill, Miss Sinister, Choice Scarf, go, and down goes the Metagross. So now in comes the Gengar, and he's gonna be all like intimidation. And so I'm forced to switch out, and I'm going to go into my Ferrothorn as he Mega Evolves and sets up a Dragon Dance, I do believe, which is the safest play, because if I did decide to stay in, he gained the Dark typing, and yeah, it wouldn't be very good for me. So anyway, he's going to do that, and the switch was coming, unless I wasn't Scarfed, in which case I would definitely Dazzling Gleam and gain the advantage right there, but now I'm looking at a +1 Gyarados in attack and speed, and I'm like, well, shite, I'm screwed, aren't I? So he's gonna go for an Earthquake, and that does nothing to this Ferrothorn, because he is a physically defensive monster, and I go for the Gyro Ball, and it does absolutely nothing. So right here, he decides to go for an Ice Fang, try and do a little more damage, and it does do a decent amount of damage, and right here, I'm like, you know what, let's Leech Seed, because time to get some HP back. So I Leech Seed the Gyarados, and now I'm basically forcing a switch right here. He could stay in, and probably eventually kill me off, but it'll take a really long time. So I do actually believe Koshderp decides, he does decide to switch right here, and he goes out into Chestnut. Yeah, he goes out into Chestnut, fearing the double Leech Seed, but I don't. I just decide to set up a layer of spikes just in case he has any Sash Pokemon on his team. I just want to break the Sashes. I don't really do much for in terms of entry hazards on the scene, because I really don't feel like it needs entry hazards. But anyways, the Chestnut's going to be going for the Brick Break, and right here, I'm just like, explosion, and that does a lot of damage to the Chestnut, considering. I have no attack investment, and I'm relaxed nature and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm gonna go down my Hydreigon, and I'm gonna go for that Fire Blastos, and down goes the Chestnut. So Chestnut gets wiped off the board, which is pretty awesome. And so now I believe he's gonna bring in. Oh, he brings in the Infernape, and I'm like, well, I do not want to take a close combat or a Mach Punch or something like that. So I'm gonna get the hell out of here. So I switch out, and I believe I go into my Tentacruel. No, I go out into Miss Sinister. Predicting the Fighting type move, and he just decides to go for the close combat, which is awesome. So that's one prediction, and then I just decide to fodder Miss Sinister. I go for the Shadow Ball, figuring Infernape has crap defenses, so I figured it would do a lot of damage, and it does. It does do a solid 80%. Which is pretty good, and then with the Flare Blitz recoil, down goes the Infernape. So it was a double down, and I figured I have more Pokemon than he does. It was a necessary fodder, because Infernape was a huge threat to my team. So now I'm going to bring in my Scizor, he brings in his Talonflame, and I'm like, you know what? He's probably going to overpredict, so I'm going to stay in. I'm going to Mega Evolve and go for the double hit, because who stays in on a Scizor with a Talonflame? But nope, he's Koshderp, he doesn't do that, he just goes straight for the safe Flare Blitz, and I'm like, well, shite. There goes my Mega. So the Talonflame gets damaged by recoil, and I'm like, I have nothing for this Talonflame, absolutely nothing for this Talonflame, so I'm going to go into Shadowthorn, my shiny Drapion, and I'm gonna go straight for the crunch. I do believe, yeah, I go for the crunch. He's gonna make the smart play, withdraw, and go on to his Gyarados, but his Gyarados is at such a low range of HP with from the spikes and being at just a low range of HP in general that my crunch, Shadowthorn, this is a pure power of Shadowthorn. The crunch, it's choice banded, but it's resisted. It's able to knock out the Mega Gyarados at that range. So one threat down, threat eliminated. So now in comes a Raichu, and the Raichu's going to be like all pulsating. And I do not want to take any unnecessary damage because Shadowthorn is the key check, my only check to his Talonflame. So right here I do bring in Tentafool as Death Fodder just because, you know, why not? And now I believe I have a couple more Pokemon left. Yeah, I'm going to go out to my Hydreigon. And Hydreigon's going to go for that Dragon Pulse. And I believe that is able to knock out the Raichu with that. Yeah, it's able to knock out the Raichu. It's a max special attack timid, so that should be able to knock it out. And now in comes Talonflame. The Talonflame just going to be like, you know what? Brave Bird! Everything. And the Talonflame is going to go for that Brave Bird, and that did absolutely nothing to my Hydreigon. Wasn't even a threat. And I'm able to go for that Dragon Pulse, and I'm able to knock it out, which gives me the 2-0 victory, I believe. Which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's a funny thing with Cospha, because I found out that all the battles I ever had with Cospha, they were all 2-0s. But did we? I think so. Let's go on to the next battle because I'm losing my place. But anyway, I think this is. Yeah. This looks right. This looks new. So Kosh Derpsy's gonna be interested. Issuing the challenge. I'm gonna lead off with my Hydreigon. He's actually gonna lead off with his Infernape, and I'm like, nope. I'm switching out. Get out of here. So I'm actually gonna go out into my Ferrothorn, predicting the Mach Punch or the Flare Blitz or the Close Combat or whatever, because last time I went out into Miss Sinister, so I'm going to go into Ferrothorn, let that thing die, but the reason being is I want this Infernape to have as much damage as possible, so with the combination of Rocky Helmets, Recoil, Iron Barbs, that Infernape's looking in pretty terrible shape. So now I'm going to go out into my Tentafool, my Tentacruel, and I'm just going to go for a Sludge Bomb. And that Infernape probably isn't EV trained, or if it does, it has a pretty terrible nature because my Tentacruel is sassy and is able to outspeed, but it doesn't much matter. So now in comes the Metagross, and he's like, haha, you can't touch me. And I'm like, or can I? I have knockoff. And he misses his Zen Headbutt, which I found pretty funny that he didn't have an item and he misses his Zen Headbutt. So now I'm going to go out into Hydreigon because, you know, why would I stay in? And it doesn't affect me, because, yeah. So I'm going to go for the Fire Blast. I miss the Fire Blast. And he goes for the Hammer Arm. And I'm like, but I live the Hammer Arm. And then he goes for a Bullet Punch. And I'm like, not enough. And it's not enough to kill Hydreigon. He lives on 18 HP. And I'm able to knock out that Metagross. So both games, Metagross did not do anything except weaken Hydreigon. But now in comes the Talonflame, and Hydreigon's at a very revenge killable range. You know, I'm not even going to mess around with predictions. I'm just going to let him die, you know. Rest in peace, Hydreigon. Rest in pieces. So Hydreigon just dies to the Brave Bird with the Talonflame. That's okay. It just gets a little bit of recoil off on that Talonflame, and any recoil amount is good. But he just regains that right back with leftovers, so, you know, whatever. So I'm going to bring out my Shadowthorn, my Shiny Drapion, and you know what, he's just like, YOLO, Flare Blitz, but I am max HP, max attack, and that does, like, nothing to me. I survived over half, and I'm going to go for that Crunch, and I'm going to crunch it up, and that does a lot of damage to that Talonflame. In fact, it brings it to a range where I can kill it off next turn with a Crunch, and he can't kill me off with the Flare Blitz. So, but he's going to still try. He's going to still try and go for that Flare Blitz, and the recoil should kill him off, and I live the Flare Blitz, but I get the Burn Hacks. I get the Burn Hacks, and you know, we were talking about, he's like, you know I'm going to get the Burn. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, you're going to get the Burn, and he gets the Burn. I'm like, come on. Very, very disappointing. But, anyways, he's gonna bring out his Gyarados. So it's a shiny Gyarados. So it's like shiny versus shiny, and then I'm intimidated, I'm burned, and now I'm gonna go for a resisted crunch on this Gyarados. It is not gonna do anything. So the Gyarados is all like Mold Breaker, and the Gyarados is gonna be setting up a Dragon Dance because Cospha's a greedy little bastard, and that's what he does. He just sets up Dragon Dances because he's like, I'm gonna sweep you with my Mega Gyarados, and I'm like, nope. So I'm gonna go for the crunch, and let's see. I think that did like officially like 2 damage, or like probably more like 10 damage or something like that, and then I just died of the burn. So that did nothing. Between the Intimidate and the burn, it's just like, no. So I go out to my Miss Sinister, and my Choice Scarf Miss Sinister, and he's like, what can you do? And I'm like, I can Dazzling Gleam, and he's like, oh, wow. But he has Mold Breaker, and he's able to hit through my Levitation, and he kills me off with an Earthquake, and I'm like, no, Miss Sinister, come back. You can blame it all on me. But anyway, it's gone. So I'm going to go out into my Scizor, and then I'm going to just Mega Evolve, and I believe I go for the double hit, so I'm pretty sure he can't knock me out with a single move. He could go for Waterfall and hope for the flinch, but that's the only thing he can do. And he does decide to just go for the Waterfall, because it's Stab. It's not even resisted, but it'll do the most damage. But anyways, I am able to live, and I am able to hit my double hit, and that will be the end of the Mega Gyarados, which is one huge threat I don't have to worry about, I'll tell you that. So now in comes the Knot of the Chest, and right here I predict Spiky Shield, because I'm pretty terrible at predicting Spiky Shields. I'm pretty good at predicting King Shield with Aegislash, but Spiky Shield with Chestnut, I'm pretty terrible at that, I don't know why. So I'm going to set up an Iron Defense, because why not, and right here I know he's going to Spiky Shield, because there's absolutely no reason why he wouldn't. So I do predict that. No, I don't predict that. I go for the double hit, and I die. I get hit by a lot of stuff. So now he's gonna go for the Brick Break, and even with the Iron Defense, it's not enough. Or it might have been enough, but he got a critical hit, I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna go on to my Tentafool, my Tentacruel, because I believe I'm down to my last Pokemon, which is Tentacruel. And I'm like, what can I do? And I get hurt by Rocky Helmet, but I'm able to knock off the Rocky Helmet, so it's all good. And then he's just gonna go for that Seed Bomb, and it's not enough. It's not enough to knock me out, which is pretty surprising. But I'm just like, what? Why not? Just Sludge Bomb, and it turns out he has Bulletproof, and that Seed Bomb is able to knock me out, which leaves him, you guessed it, with the 2-0 victory over me. He has the Chestnut and the Raichu left. So the last battle we have with Koshderp is this battle. In this battle, he brought an Empoleon, he brought an Infernape, he brought a Mega Mawile, he brought a Talonflame, which I'm just like, Cospha, you're bringing all the Pokemon I ever hated. All you're missing is like a Klefki and a Sableye Prankster, and you have my exact hate team. But, wow, this battle is really long. It's like 21 turns long. Jesus Christ, I didn't realize it was that long. But anyways, in comes the Hydreigon, and Talonflame comes in as well. And I'm just like, you know what? You're not going to stay in on me. I make the over-prediction of going for the Flare Blitz, predicting Fire Blast, predicting the Mawile to come in. But he has U-turn, so he's like, you know what? Why not? So he makes the over-predict. He predicts me to overpredict, which is pretty cool, and goes for the U-turn, which is fine. Now he's going to bring in the Empoleon, and I'm like, well, I'm not taking an Ice Beam, so I'm going to go out and Tentafool, my Tentacruel, and Tentacruel's going to be like, Ice Beam? What Ice Beam? That's like 2 damage to me, 20 damage, which I can recover back with a Black Sludge, or just about recover back. But anyway, the Empoleon sees he's not doing anything, so he's like, I'm out of here, and he's going to bring in Raichu. The Raichu, so I'm going to go for the knockoff, because I'm curious what item the Raichu has, and it turns out he has a Zap Plate, which is pretty cool, so now I don't have to worry about that anymore. But anyway, I'm like, I am not staying in Insane for that Wild Charge. I know the games your Raichu plays. So I'm going to go out into my Ferrothorn, and Ferrothorn's going to be like, Volt's Wild Charge? What Wild Charge? And he's going to get hurt by Rocky Helmet, Iron Barbs, and the Recoil, so that Raichu's not looking good at all. but it turns out it has Focus Blast. So I'm like, you're kidding me, right? Oh, and it gets a Spit F drop too, which is like, oh my god. But right here, I make a very, very risky play. I actually predict the Focus Blast miss, and I stay in, and I go, I believe, for the Gyro Ball. But yeah, but fortunately for me, he does miss his Focus Blast. I do nail that prediction, and I am able to knock out the Raichu with the Gyro Ball. So, that's something I don't have to worry about. So now in comes the Flame of the Talon Flame, and the Talon Flame is just going to be like, Blair Blitz ya, and I'm just like, bye-bye, Ferrothorn, I don't need you anymore, I don't need it, and plus with racking up recoil on the Talon Flame is always good. Wounded Talon Flame is a happy Blazeshadowthorn, as the saying goes, not really, but, Talon Flame is, gonna do some leftover recovery shenanigans, and I believe I go out into I go out into Hydreigon. I go out into Hydreigon because I know I can take a Brave Bird. I know I can take a Flare Blitz if I need to. I am not going to make the mistake of over-predicting this time. I am going to go straight for that Dragon Pulse, and I live barely, but I do go straight for the Dragon Pulse, which is pretty awesome. And that's the Talon Flame I don't have to worry about. So the Talon Flame gets knocked out, and he's all like, you know what? Because I told him, actually, we were in the Skype call when this battle was going on. I was like, I'm Choice Specs, right? And he's like, okay, I'll bring in my Mawile. And I'm going to Mega Evolve, and I'm going to go for the Swords Dance, because you're going to switch. And I'm like, you do realize, why on earth would I tell you that I'm Specs? I'm not. And he's like, as soon as he does, like, you're not really Specs, are you? I'm like, no, I'm really not. So I am able to knock out the Mega Mawile, which is pretty awesome. Deception is always good. So I'm going to bring in Infernape, and now right here I really didn't want to over-predict at all, so I'm just going to let Hydreigon die to a Mach Punch. The Infernape is able to knock me out, which is it's a bit unfortunate, but whatever. I'm going to now bring in my Miss Sinister, my Gengar, and Gengar, Miss Sinister, she's going to go for the Shadow Ball, and that Shadow Ball did a lot of damage. In fact, it did a little more than the last Shadow Ball, but it doesn't matter. The same thing happens as before. Infernape goes for the Flare Blitz. I go for the Shadow Ball. We both end up knocking each other out. So now it's another double down, except this time I'm in a lot better position than he is. So I'm going to bring in my Scizor as he brings in his Chestnut, I do believe. No, he brings in his Empoleon. So he does get he does get the better end of that double down. I am forced to switch out. I am actually going to bring in my Tentafool, as Tentafool is a pretty hard counter to this Empoleon, actually. So Empoleon is going to go for the Skull. The Skull does absolutely nothing to this Tentacruel. God, Tentacruel is such a defensive monster. But anyway, Cospha is going to withdraw the Empoleon, bring in his Chestnut, and I actually do believe I might have predicted the switch and went for the Slut. No, I went for the Miracle. I went for the safe Miracle just in case he wanted to stay in for some reason. But anyways, I cannot do anything to this Chestnut, but I don't want to have Rocky Helmet, because when I bring in my Scizor, I need to not rack up recoil at all. So I do knock off his Rocky Helmet, which is pretty awesome. And now right here, I know he's gonna go for Sludge Seed Bomb. There's no reason not to, because he's gonna knock out my Tentacruel. So I'm going to switch out and go into my Scizor, because I know Scizor can eat up the Seed Bomb like it was absolutely nothing. He eats Seed Bombs for breakfast. Yeah, that did like, what, 13 damage? Absolutely nothing. So right here, I'm going to Mega Evolve. I'm going to go into my Mega Scizor, and I'm going to go for the Iron Defense, I believe, because that's what I do. That's what I do on this Chestnut's Iron Defense, because getting my defenses up on this is pretty useful. So I'm going to go for the Iron Defense, get my defenses sharply risen, whatever. But now right here, this is the battle. I knew some battle. I predicted the Spiky Shield. This is the battle. So he's gonna go for the Spiky Shield, and I'm going to go for the Swords Dance. And I'm like, finally. So yeah, this was the third battle. This was the third battle we had. So I'm like, finally, I nailed that prediction. So now he's getting HP back. So I believe he decides to be Cospha being Cospha. He tries to go for the double Spiky Shield, but it fails, and I'm able to go for the double hit, and it's not enough to take out that Chestnut, which is very, very annoying. But you know, right here I'm deciding, you know, like YOLO. He's probably gonna spiky shield, but on the off chance he doesn't, I'm just gonna go straight for the double hit again. And he does decide to just go straight for the brick break, which is pretty awesome, and I'm able to knock out the chestnut, which is one less threat I have to worry about. So now he's gonna bring in his Empoleon, which I believe is his last Pokemon. And I'm just gonna go for a Bullet Punch, because you know, why not? I'm at +2, and that does literally nothing to this Empoleon because it's resisted. But anyway, the Empoleon is just gonna kill me all over the skull. That's perfectly okay by me, because I have Shadowthorn. I have my shiny Drapion, and shiny Drapion's gonna come in, and I'm like, I'm gonna Earthquake you, because for those who do not know, Empoleon is very, very slow. Oh, it's so very slow. But anyways, that will lead me with the, you guessed it, 2-0 victory. So thank you for watching this triple battles. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my narration as always. My name is Blazeshadowthorn, and I'll probably drop Cospha's link in the description below, because I'm a nice guy like that. So if you like his battle style, you know, feel free to meander over to his channel, click that subscribe button. I sometimes do a lot of guest narration for him, so you know, you might see me over on his content. So yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye.